Here we go. Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. What we're going to be talking about, so we talked about builds in the last stream, and the community did a lot of builds. A lot of them were fairly trolly builds. I think people knew that they were doing trolly builds, which is fine. Troll builds are always fun, and what's the point of playing a video game if you're not going to have fun playing it, right? So if you want to build fun troll builds, that's fine. I didn't want new people coming in to look at that and think that's the way they should build like Gideon or something like that, because there was a lot of trap cards there. There's a lot of cards that you think, oh, that's going to be awesome, maybe not going to be so awesome. So we're going to go through, look at some other possible additions to builds and some flex cards and stuff like that. But before that, let's greet everyone. We got Anthony Kelly Jr., we got J-Man, we got Miyamo, Jelly Knees, Kaiser Gaming. What's up, everybody? So before we do that, we got to talk about the heroes. We got to talk about the different heroes and what their capabilities are, what their strengths and weaknesses are. And part of that, what's up, Swiftix? Part of that is going to be knowing what changed between last beta test and this beta test, which the patch notes, as we can see, they tell us that things changed. They didn't tell us what changed, but voila, I have got, this was given to me by Sevarog, and it's a list of the actual changes, so we could tell if it was either a buff or a nerf or what. So I think it's pretty important to go over this stuff, which this is going to be a boring stream. Like, we're going to be looking at a fucking text document and looking at the buffs and nerfs. But for a lot of people, I think this is actually going to be fairly interesting. Anna Henrietta, how you doing? So all right, so let's start off with Belica here. Now Belica, and he was nice enough too to put the nerfs in red and the buffs in green. So the base damage of her, it's called Collapse Ground. It's the Seismic Assault. It's her knockup. So the base damage has gone down. The mana cost has also gone down, but the cooldown has gone up. So overall, just a general nerf to her Seismic Assault. Not a huge nerf or anything, and it looks like it's mainly at higher levels that it's going to be nerfed. So it's not going to affect the way you play Belica, I don't think. Dapper, what's going on? And then, okay, her Commander's Eye, this is the mana sucking drone. Apparently it used to reflect damage. I thought that this always just sucked mana, but the mana drained has been increased. So it's so it used to just always be 2% of mana. Now it goes up as you level it up. So it's from 2 to 4%. So this thing's going to be draining much more mana than it was last time. So this ability is going to be a little more important than it was in the last beta test. If you are a Belica main, you should rejoice. But the duration has gone down. It isn't up as long. The cooldown is not as long either. So you can have it up more often. It's just not going to be up as long. And it can be targeted by minions, which is a huge improvement. It was very difficult when I was on, say, Shinbi or Countess, a mid laner with a melee basic, to get around this mana drone without it sucking all my mana dry. With the minions being able to kill it now, that'll be a little bit easier. Casimir Vandenberg, how you doing? Jacob Clark. Can't wait to get your hands on Rampage. I love me some Rampage. I'm not good with him, but I do love me some Rampage. Okay, now suppress her R&B. This is the explosion or void bomb. Nothing changed. Paralyzing shot, her ultimate, the base true damage has been added. So it didn't have true damage before. It has 50, 100, 150 true damage, but the damage per mana hit, per mana gone has gone down. So it deals a little bit less damage per the amount of mana drained from your opponent, but you have the addition of true damage. My experience with Belica's ult in the last beta test was it tickled at like level 1. At level 3, it would just annihilate me. Like, I remember going against Oda. Oda was on Belica and I was on Gideon. I used 2 abilities and I jumped into ult and he just ulted me and I was dead. Like, I was at full health and he just hit me once and I was dead with his ultimate. So it hit like a truck last beta test. Hopefully this will help a little bit with that. Maybe it'll hit even harder now. I don't know. Just keep an eye on Belica. Don't sleep on Belica. G-Sock, how you doing? Hey, I'm glad you like FTM. All right, now we got Countess. Cold-hearted dagger. No change to her basic attack. Now, Shadow Ripple, this is her teleport. The mana cost has gone down. The cooldown has gone down. And it kills Teons instantly. By Teons, they mean minions. I don't know why they call them Teons, but they do. So this is just an all-around buff to Shadow Ripple. So it slows down the enemy. You can reuse it as always. So yeah, just all good for Countess here. Now Blood Ripple, her E. This is I believe, yeah, her E is the one where she throws the shadow energy forward, or the blood energy, I guess in this case. So magical power, it's gone from instead of 70% of your magical damage to 90%. The cooldown has gone up from 10 seconds to 14 seconds, and they added 20% healing reduction. So again, I think lowering the increasing the cooldown on this, but increasing the damage, that's not a nerf to Countess, I don't think, because usually with Countess, excuse me, you want to get in, dump your kit, and your target dies. So why do you care about the cooldown of your E if you're just going to kill your target and then shadow slip back into the bushes? You know what I mean? So I don't think just that little bit of nerf, it's way more of a buff than it is a nerf for Countess. Spin Slash is of course her spinny. They just reduced the cooldown of it. Again, I don't think anything that affects cooldowns on Countess, it really isn't all that important except for her ultimate. Her ultimate, starting out, they get a buff to the base damage, but it gets then it gets nerfed as you level it up. But you get 100% magical power scaling on it instead of 80% magical power scaling on it. So even though they lowered the base damage as you gain levels, it's still going to be hitting harder than it was in the last stress test. So Countess, I thought, was very strong in the last beta test, and I think she's going to be even stronger in this test. So definitely with Countess, as we're talking about these builds, don't fall into the trap of going with some sort of basic attack mage build. You want as much magical power and penetration as you can on Countess, so you can get in fast, hit them as hard as humanly possible, and then get out. You don't want to be dicking around trying to hit people with your little swords on Countess. I mean, if that's what it takes to finish the job, then okay, but you want to dump as much damage into somebody as fast as possible with her. You don't want to be hanging around. JBN, how you doing? Okay, Feng Mao, no change to his basic attack. His Q, which is his shield, skill immunity effect added once while the shield lasts. Okay, so this gives you like the item that gives you a bubble that lets you block one skill. I guess you get this just on. I didn't see this in the patch notes, or I probably saw it, I just didn't notice it. So you just get a skill bubble every time you use a shield on Feng Mao. This is going to make him very dangerous. This gives him it lasts once, but it's while the shield lasts. So you can activate this going into a fight, and somebody hits you with CC, it's not going to affect you. This is going to make Feng Mao a lot more dangerous. What do you guys think? Spear of Dawn E, no change. Great Leap, this is his teleport. Damage coefficient changed from magical power to physical power. So instead of 60% magical power scaling, it has 60% physical power scaling. Again, this is only good for Feng Mao. It was weird that this dealt magical damage to begin with. And then his ultimate, upon successfully executing enemy heroes with this skill, the cooldown is refreshed for 6, 8, 10 seconds. So we've seen it in the videos. It's a reset on kill. This is the way it was in the later stages of Paragon. I'm not sure about early Paragon with Feng Mao. I didn't get into him until pretty late in the Paragon's lifespan. But yeah, Jelly's 100%. That's why he seemed so tanky. That's why he seemed like he was just walking through shit. It's because he really was just walking through shit. So so him being able to have a skill bubble on his shield, that's not just going to prevent him from getting CC'd. Like a Gideon rock comes in, it's like it does nothing to him. So there were times when we saw it, it's like, holy shit, how did he not die right there? It's because his skill, his bubble was just negating huge swaths of damage, which is pretty insane. Pretty insane to have. I mean, that bubble is usually on like a 60-second cooldown, and okay, what is it? What is his Q? His shield? It's on an 8-second cooldown. So, but yeah, his no real change to his ultimate except that it does reset, which is going to make it vastly more dangerous in a team fight. Clorox TV, how you doing? Welcome on in. Okay, Gideon, no change to his base attack. Summon Meteor, his Q, his bread and butter. Magical power, oh my god. So I haven't read through all of these. They buffed Gideon's Q? Why? Why would they do this? Oh my god, so instead of 70% magical power scaling, it now has 80% and it costs less mana. This thing hit like a fucking truck before and it's gonna hit harder now? That is... whew, that's a little nuts. Okay, so his E open subspace, that's his portal. The mana cost has increased, and the cooldown has also increased. So he's not going to be as slippery. It's not that big of a difference. Just a little bit of a tuning knob on Gideon, but I will sacrifice a little bit of mana and some cooldown on subspace to get a stronger freaking rock, man. That is nuts. Okay, Contortion. That's a weird name for this ability. That's his new thing where he throws the suction cup on the ground, pulls people in. Yes, I'm doing crap with my hands again. I can't help it. I'm very self-conscious of it now. I'm sorry. But so the base damage has gone down, which is good. The skill range, 325. They didn't really have what it was before. Mana cost has also gone down. Cooldown has gone up. And the skill hit delay, 0.55 seconds. So they have a half second to get out of this before it sucks them in, which is a very necessary change. It costing less mana is nice. You're not really concerned about the base damage going down. Isn't that big of a deal? Like, you weren't concerned about the damage from this. It was mainly to set up a very easy meteor to their head. So Devour, his ultimate, magical power is up to 30%, used to be 20%. This thing, his black hole ultimate, it doesn't deal a huge amount of damage, and it didn't in the last beta test. We've seen it in action. It still doesn't do a huge amount of damage. It's more of just a team CC tool than anything that does still deal some damage. Like, it's not like it deals 0 damage or anything, but it's mainly just a massive amount of disruption, because it really does pull you in. You cannot get out of this thing. So it hitting a little bit harder will be nice for Gideon. I think overall Gideon has been buffed. I don't know why, because he was an absolute monster in the last test. You want to make him more OP, Clorox? Really? Reziel, how you doing? This info was provided to me by Sevarog. So I don't think it's publicly available anywhere. Now we have Grux, Primal Grip. That's just his pull in, no changes. Now his E, his dash. We all know that has been it's been shortened a little bit. The mana cost has been decreased, and the cooldown has been decreased. So you'll be able to dash a little bit more when using Grux, and this does have magical power scaling, which is a little odd to me. Koji Machado, you can still get him out with a Belica pop-up. However, they did add a ceiling to her pop-up. So if you're high enough with Gideon, she's not going to be able to pop you out of it. I think we'll go over into it when we get into the builds, but I think a very good way to negate a runaway Gideon will be Mutant Poe, the card that transforms somebody. So if you're on Decker and you just use your bubble or something to stun somebody to save your ADC, and then Gideon sees that you just use your CC, so he jumps over the top and starts to use his ultimate, you just pop a mutant Poe and now he's a fish. So we'll get into that later. Okay, Grux, his rage, that's his double chop. Healing reduction effect, so now you reduce the amount of healing that you apply trauma to the target whenever you hit them with this. And that effect is 10, 15, 20, 25, 30%. So that's 30% healing reduction when it's fully maxed out. That's pretty nice. And the cooldown has gone down to 3. So this was not off of cooldown as much as I wanted it to be when I played Grux in the last beta test. So seeing this cooldown halved is going to be quite nice, I think. So I think overall buffs the Grux. Kallari, Dusk's Teeth. Is that's the name of her basic attack? Anyway, no changes to it. No changes to her Q. Twilight Guide, her E. This is where she teleports to a target and roots them. So the skill cast range is 1400. Didn't really tell us what it was before, but the mana cost is down, the cooldown is down. So you're going to be able to teleport to people even more often with Kallari. So general buff to Kallari, which I think after we saw Xena, Kallari's going to need a buff, because I felt that Xena was just a better Kallari that just didn't have stealth. Yeah, without any CDR Bill Razio, he's going to be double chopping his ass off. And that's the only changes really to Kallari. All right, good stuff. And Kwang. Okay, we know all these changes. We've like this is just completely changed 100%. We've already gone over his kit. Kwang's just going to be a badass. Like, we all know this. I think it was said best in the last stream where somebody said that he seems like the 70th hero that was added to a MOBA and power creep has kicked in. That's what Kwang seems like. So I mean, this is all completely different from the last Kwang we saw. So there's not really much use in going over this. I'm in for a treat towards the bottom. Uh-oh. Legendary Mech, how you doing? Murdoch. All right. So target check. This is where it's just like Revenant's Obliterate. It fires a bunch of rockets, a bunch of homing rockets out that all hit the same target. So the mana cost has gone down, cooldown has gone down, base damage initially is down, but as you level it up, it'll actually hit a little harder. So it's going to hit harder late game than it did before, not as hard early game. I think this is a great change. These rockets were just jacking people up. There was literally not much you could do about it early game. So I like that they decreased the damage of this early on. Shock Bullet, his R&B, that's just his knockback, which actually performs with a pistol. I don't know if you've ever watched the full animation. You would think he would do that with his fucking rifle, but no, he pulls a pistol off his back, and that's what it comes out of. Crazy, huh? Anyway, the cooldown has gone up, so you can't knock people back as often with old Murdoch. And then his Long Dong of the Law, the cooldown has gone up, so a little bit of a nerf to Long Dong. You can't fire it quite as often. Well, thank you, Matthew Joseph. Muriel. Okay, got some weird. The notes got weird on me. So her Q. This is the she creates the field on the ground. The movement speed slow, increase and slow. So this creates a field on the ground that slows enemies and it increases the speed of allies. So that's just been increased, like the amount of slow and the amount of speed increase. So that's kind of nice, like 30% move speed increase, especially when your target is slowed. Pretty damn nice. Glowing Light, her E. The shield has actually gone down, so shielding is not as good, but the magical power scaling has gone up to 70% from 40%. Holy shit. Glory of a Sign or R&B. This is the shield that goes for fucking ever. I don't know what the range on this shit is. It seems like it's cross map. The shielding has actually gone up. Mana cost has gone down. Cooldown has gone up. And Faithful Vow, or Reversal of Fortune as I know it, her ultimate, the shielding has actually gone down, so not as much shielding from her ultimate, but the magical power scaling on it is 50% now, up from 40%. So I don't know. These seem just sort of, I'm not a big Muriel guy. Like, I'm not a Muriel player. These seem just sort of adjustments more than just any kind of nerfs or buffs or anything. Ready to hit 20K? Yeah, right, maybe. I doubt it. Stormhawk, how you doing? Phase. So no change to her blind, her light flux, her E. This is the phase lance, the long distance, multi-hit laser that she pumps out. The mana cost has gone down, cooldown has gone down. So just an all-around buff for light flux. Synchronizer, her R&B. This is her link. The cooldown has gone down. Link status can now be removed by activating. All right, we knew that. So you can now, if she has somebody linked, that can be removed with any kind of debuff removal tool. And the phase really throws people off when they look at the game because they're used to the old phase and her being able to link an ally and pull them out of danger. She is just a straight up mid laner now. So I know a lot of people don't like that. I kind of dig it. Supercharge her ultimate. This was just an AoE knockback. The magical power up to 80% from 60%. So this is going to be hitting even harder. And this hit pretty hard. This hit pretty hard in the last beta test. So it's going to be hitting even harder now. And the cooldown has been reduced. So overall, I think phase has definitely been buffed. If you thought the phase was a little weak as a mid laner, she's going to be a little less weak for you now. Sevarog. Okay, so they just increased the amount of souls you gain from the different kills, from killing heroes, monsters, lane minions, whatever. It's going to be easier to stack on Sevarog. I did not find it hard to stack on Sevarog in the last beta test. So we've seen him be very effective in these videos. He seems very tanky very early on. You're going to be watching the full shoulder stacked Sevarogs sweeping around the map quite often, I think. Meow Mix, welcome on in. Hollow Breath, this is his root. Pulls down the root from the sky. The mana cost has been decreased. Cooldown has been decreased. So you can now use this a little more often. His movement ability, his dash, the charge distance has been reduced, just like everybody else's charge distance. And the cooldown has also been reduced. So even though you're not going as far, you get, a reduction in cooldown. You can do it more times. And his ultimate cast animation speed increased, and the cooldown has been decreased. So his cast animation speed, he picks up the hammer, colossal blow, sweeps it through. It's going to go a little faster now, so it's going to be a little less likely that you miss this. Every once in a while, I will miss this ultimate. I'm not going to lie to you. It seems like a ridiculous ultimate to miss. I miss it sometimes. But now this will be less likely to miss. So Sevarog just overall all around buffed. Probably with the amount of souls he's able to gain now with his Q, this might be the biggest buff overall from the last patch. I think Sevarog is definitely going to be one of those that you see in just about every game. Though I think the only reason you won't see more Sevarogs is because Sevarog and Kwang kind of fill the same space as either offlane junglers. So if you can get a Kwang offlane and Sevarog jungle or vice versa, I think you'll be set. QZ, what's going on? Shinbi, Summon Guardian Spirits. Her Q, this is the straight line skill shot wolf. Base damage has been reduced, but magical power scaling has been increased. It was 35% magical power scaling. Now it is 70%. So that's why. So I mean, these are big decreases. Like from 100 to 60 at level 1, or from 280 to 180 at level 5. So you think, holy shit, that's a massive decrease in Shinbi's efficacy, but you're going from 35% magical power scaling to 70% magical power scaling. That's pretty nuts. That is pretty nuts. So the more items you have on Shinbi, she's going to get out of hand real quick. Cooldown down to 5 seconds, so you'll be whipping those wolves out even more often. Cooldown reduction on hit, it's now 1 second. It used to be 2 seconds. So every time you hit this, it's going to be 4 seconds next time. So cool beans. Mana recovery on hit, 2%. I didn't even know this recovered mana on hit. So it used to be 10%. So that's quite the that's quite a nerf right there. So there's some tuning going on here with Shinbi. She's not going to have nearly as much mana as she used to, and she's not going to be hitting you with those wolves as often as she was before. Now, Phantom Dance, or E, that's the circle rhythm where the wolves circle up. Base damage is down, and the magical power scaling is down. So it's down from 25% to 20%, and the base damage has been pretty much cut in half across the board per hit. But and you can't. It no longer has. You don't recover health from this anymore, but it does give you 20% movement speed increase whenever you hit with it. And the skill range is 500, whatever that means. This is a big nerf to Shinbi. That's what allowed her to stay into a lot of these fights. You're now going to have to use items to get any kind of healing off of Circle Rhythm. Circle Rhythm, I think, was great for... That's how she was able to pull off a lot of the crazy shit she was able to pull off in these other beta tests. So with that healing recovery removed, I don't think that 20% movement speed is going to really help that much in that case. But still, you can supplement items in to help out with this and bring her back to that power level. But just overall nerf to her E, I think it was needed. It was definitely needed. Ashel, what's going on? Yeah, Meow Mix, it makes me sad too. Light's Memory, that's her dash. Mana cost is down. Cooldown is down, but the charge distance is reduced. So even though they removed her healing and they nerfed the shit out of her E, they buffed her movement ability. So this is you get 2 charges of it, as long as you use it within 3 seconds. This great tool. I like that the charge distance has been reduced. I've mentioned that before. I felt that it went too far before because you want to stick to people with Shinbi, and you would just go way past them. Like, it used to be such a short dash in Paragon. I was not expecting to go cross lane with it, but whatever. Now her ultimate, the base damage has just been reduced across the board by a fairly significant amount. Cooldown has been increased at level 1, decreased at level 2 and 3. So her ultimate was probably hitting a little too hard. I think all these changes, as much as I love Shinbi and I love playing her, and this kind of makes me sad that she's not going to be just beastly OP, these were necessary changes for Shinbi, I believe. Pretty down bad that my boy Greystone isn't in Overprime, but Mommy Belica is still, plus Daddy Kwang is still amazing. Yeah, Harry Thompson, I think Kwang is going to more than make up for the loss of Greystone for now. I'm sure Greystone will be there eventually. Sparrow. Her Rain of Arrows, her Q. The slow is... Okay, the slow has been nerfed. All right. So yeah, I was making sure that wasn't wrong there. So it doesn't slow as much. This thing actually slows a pretty decent amount. I mean, at level 5, it's a 50% slow. So Sparrow doesn't really have an escape, but I did see people using this incorrectly. What you want to do is, throw it in front of yourself and then run through it. If you're trying to escape somebody, don't throw it on top of them, because then they're just going to run, throw it on top of them. They'll have to run half the distance to get out of it. Where if you throw it in front of yourself and run through it, they have to run through that full rain of arrows. I don't know, just one of those abilities I saw people using oddly, I guess. Swift Arrow, her E. This is just gives her attack speed and movement speed. The attack speed has gone down. The cooldown has gone up. Man, they seem to be nerfing the shit out of Sparrow, and I don't know why. Her R&B, she pulls back her bow and arrow for a while and lets it go. Does, more damage and goes further. Projectile range has been increased. Be able to poke a little bit further with this than you were before. And no change to her ultimate. I'm a little weirded out by that, man. Did you guys think that Sparrow needed a nerf? Like, I didn't feel that Sparrow was really all that strong. I mean, of course, Sparrow, if you let her get ahead, and if she gets to the late game, then yeah, she's a powerhouse. But even then, I didn't think she was that strong. Like, she could be quickly nullified by like a Countess or something. Now that Fault is closed, we should reevaluate heroes that are not in PTO or Pred. Yeah, we probably should, Jelly. Fox McCloud agrees. I would love to see Crunch in the game too. I love Crunch. That you might be right, Jelly. Maybe the new items are just fucking crazy on her, so they had to nerf her. Okay, Steel. So advance. His Bull Rush, his Q. Upon skill use, gain a shield. So you get physical defense scaling 40%. Used to be 50%. So it's physical defense scaling instead of magical power scaling, which is probably really good. I mean, we've seen Steel in these games, and he's like damn near unkillable. So you get a big ass shield. The mana cost for the Bull Rush has gone down, but the cooldown has gone up, and the charge distance is reduced. Again, I thought this was going way too far before. Hopefully what they fixed, the big problem with this was you would charge through somebody and they would land on top of their minions and be stuck on top of their minions, which cannot be, that has to be super frustrating for anybody in that situation. Hopefully they've changed that. Hopefully they've dealt with that. I'm sure they have. But yeah, I think this is a good, this is going to discourage people from the trap of building magical damage on Steel. I think that's a fun build if you want to go all ability power Steel, so that you're just slamming the shit out of people with his ultimate. That's a fun fucking build. But if you need long range AoE, just pick up a Gideon. You know what I mean? Steel has other things that he can do. We'll get into that later. Anyway, Ironclad Wall, his E. This is the wall that he throws down that blocks projectiles. The cooldown has been reduced. The slow duration has been increased, so it's going to slow people even more. Very underutilized skill, I think. Or I don't think that it's underutilized. I don't think people understand how effective it is unless you're on the other side of that shield trying to shoot into the team fight. Like when you're in the fight, it seems like, oh, a shield wall went down, whatever. But you don't understand what that does. That forces people to have to move closer if they want to deal damage. And if they don't move closer into the team fight, they're just not going to deal damage. That shield it's an amazing ability, guys. It's an amazing ability. Having a lower cooldown on it, I think, is great. And it's a significantly lower cooldown. It went from 20, 18, 16, 14, 12 to 8, 7.5, 7, 6.5, and 6. That's a huge buff for Steel, I think. A huge buff for Steel. Definitely for support Steel. Like in lane, throwing this shield down to prevent the enemy ADC to from getting their last hits. This is gonna be nice. Gonna be sweet. No changes to the shield bash. I wish they would make that a... Yeah, he gets a shield, not damage, Kelly. I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear. No. Yeah. Sorry, I'm reading backwards right now. So he's always gotten a shield whenever he used his Q. But it used to be magical power, affected by magical power. Now it's affected by defense. His ultimate, no change to Steel's ultimate. Twinblast. Why do pump But they got weird names for some of these. Okay, his grenade, the base damage has gone down. Physical power scaling has gone down. So the grenade is not going to hit as hard as it was in the last beta test. His E, which is his dash, the mana cost has gone up and the cooldown has gone up. He's not going to be dashing as much. Man, there must be something with the items because they nerfed Sparrow. Now they're nerfing Twinblast. They didn't really nerf Murdoch that much. No Mercy, his R&B. That's you just kind of triple tap with your guns. Damage per bullet has gone, it stayed the same at level 1, but it has gone down throughout. So yeah, Twinblast just all around nerfed. I'm guessing it's the same thing as what happened with Sparrow. I didn't think Twinblast needed a nerf, but again, I don't play a lot of ADC, so. Frenzy, what's going on? Rampage. Furious Scratch. That's the name of his basic attack. Okay, I need to stop making fun of their names here. So his RMB, his leap, the mana cost has been reduced from 60 to 50. The cooldown has been reduced. So you can just, there's not a lot of changes to Rampage here. He'll just be leaping a lot more often. And no change to his ultimate, apparently. That's the only change to Rampage. Revenant, let's see if Revenant got a bunch of nerfs, because every other goddamn ADC's getting nerfs. Revenant, Storm of Bullets, reload acceleration rate based on attack speed. So that means the more attack speed you have, the faster your reload animation is going to be, which is the way it was in Paragon. And I don't think it was that way in the last beta test, and it needed to be. Bonus physical damage. And I guess that would be on the final shot is the 10. It's, up from a lot, pretty much. Vital Wound is E. That's the mark, the lock-on ability. You would mark them and it would give you extra damage on your next ability. So you would mark and then obliterate and it would deal a fuck ton of damage. But the bonus damage on skill hit removed, that is gone now. It now gives 20% healing reduction. Just base, whatever level it is, 20% healing reduction. Basic attacks change to deal damage based on enemy hero max health on hit. So whenever you get this, I guess you get just automatic shred on Revenant. So he'll be a bit of a tank buster, except he doesn't attack fast enough, I think, to really shred tanks. We'll see. We'll see. His ultimate, Abysmal Prison. Additional effect, gain an additional 100 gold when target is killed within the Abysmal Prison. So I don't know if it was giving the extra bounty before it needed to. Anyway, it is now. So that's the way it worked in Paragon. If you killed somebody within your Shadow Realm, you got the extra bounty, extra gold. Okay, here's Rampage's ult. It was just situated weird. So the magical power of his ultimate has been decreased down to 20%. AoE damage range 400, cooldown 110, 95, 80. I didn't know that this dealt AoE damage in the last. I don't think it dealt AoE damage in the last one. I guess it did from reading this right here. I didn't know that. Did not know that at all. But apparently it's been nerfed. I guess it was too strong. But that's really cool. That's not something I don't think was in Paragon at all. Him dealing magic damage, AoE magic damage around him after he ulted up. But it is now. Unfortunately, I mean, his ultimate's all about, that health regen. And it seems like everybody has some sort of healing reduction in their kit now. So this patch is a big old fuck you to Rampage and Chimera, really. Spiritual Soul, the new beta footage. It seems like the game runs way better and plays way better. I hope so. I mean, I didn't have any problems with it in the last beta test, but if it's better, it's better. I like that. 1,000 gold if you kill someone in his ult. Yeah, people did not appreciate. I 100% agree. I did an entire video about offlane steal way back in the day. All right, and that's it. That's it for the changes. So that's pretty interesting. And that gives us a little bit of a better idea of what's going on with all these heroes. But let's take a real quick look at the new heroes that they added before we move along, because a lot of this stuff is going to affect what we're going to be talking about with builds, is going to affect these new heroes. Okay, Gadget. So, I mean, Gadget is she's pretty much an artillery mage. Every one of her abilities deals damage in some way, shape, or form. Even her speed gate deals damage. Her R&B, the seek and destroy thing that throws down the cone of energy, that deals multiple ticks of damage. And her ultimate, the Tesla Dome, that deals multiple ticks of damage. So I think that's important. That's going to be important to consider when we're looking at items. If you have a no cooldown ability hit effect, it's going to be amazing on Gadget, because again, all of her abilities deal damage, and a lot of them deal multiple ticks of damage. So that kind of thing is going to be great on Gadget, I think. There did not seem to be a surprise at the bottom, Jelly. Maybe the surprise was that Rampage's ultimate was at the bottom. Yeah, that Gadget skin, Stormhawk. Excellent. Did they change smite in any way? I don't know. I'll pull up the smite here in just a second and we'll take a look. But I don't remember what the old smite was. Serath. So I'm very interested to see how Serath plays. Is she just going to be a bruiser, or are they going to have her as a melee ADC? Is she going to have the scaling, the both health and armor scaling, but also attack power scaling, you know, basic attack scaling of an ADC? That's going to be very interesting to see, because that's what she was in Paragon, and she was still very fucking dangerous. All you had to do was build a little bit of lifesteal on her, and you were fucking good to go. So I don't know. We really don't know that much about Serath yet until we get our hands on her. Decker, on the other hand, seems to be pretty much the same old Decker as always. So shit that was good. And here's the thing with supports are fairly interchangeable, but you have to be probably the most on your toes with their build and ready to adapt. It's the support's job to control the battlefield, and that means picking items, and it's so difficult when a support. I don't know why people say that supporting is easy, but you have to be able to allocate your gold towards what's going to be the most effective. If somebody's if what's going to be most effective is a shielding for your entire team, if what's most effective is going to be just negating damage just for your ADC, you know, you got to make that decision, and you got to build appropriately. I think supports probably have the most. I think, you know, you could take an ADC build and apply it to every ADC, and it'll probably work. But from game to game, your support build is going to be very different, I think. So we'll talk about that in a bit. Wraith, same as always. Now, here's the interesting thing about Wraith that I think that people were kind of falling into a trap a little bit on with the when we were doing the build videos. Wraith only has one damaging ability. like Rewind doesn't deal damage. His scouting grenade doesn't deal damage. His ultimate doesn't deal damage. The only thing he has that deals damage is knock knock, his snipe. Now, can you use it a lot? Yeah, you can use it quite a bit, but it's one source of damage, and if you miss it, you're fucked. So there was a lot of people trying to make like on hit, like I was talking about with Gadget, like on hit effects. They were trying to apply it to Wraith. I don't think Wraith is going to benefit from that as much, because he only has the one damaging ability. So why would you put on hit effects on Wraith if you're just hitting the one thing? It seemed to be fairly common in the videos that they would put a damage over time item on him, but I didn't see a damage over time item in the list. We'll have to take a look at the list again. Maybe it's just, if he has damage over time integrated into his knock knock, that would be crazy. Wraith the Kallari, yeah, Wraith is definitely a Kallari counter. Wraith is an everybody counter like that. His his Q right here, his scanner grenade is going to be so much more effective in Overprime than it ever was in Paragon. Nobody even thought about using this thing in Paragon. They're going to be using it like crazy in Overprime. Raziel, build Wraith as ADC. I think that's probably going to be the best way to go about it with the items that they have. Like a high magic damage ADC, but still a lot of magic damage so your snipes hurt. Rip Kallari means time to go Xena. Howitzer, I hate this. I hate that they changed it and they made him so cute. All right, so Howitzer's pretty much the same as he's always been. I don't know if you guys remember back in the day in Legacy Paragon, there was the item called Micro Nuke, and it looked like a big explosion was the card. Everybody would build just like 6 micro nukes if they could on Howitzer, and it was nuts. And it would actually be really effective. So I'm hoping that just building as much magical power as possible and just hitting people really freaking hard with R2000 Rocket and really freaking hard with your pop-up mine and his ultimate. I think that's going to be the way to go with Howitzer. It's you see a lot of ADC Howitzer though. Like I don't know what's up with that. Horseman of the Apocalypse. Yes, you can. Like kind of what I was saying. We'll get into it a little bit later. But if you have an item that gives you like an on-hit effect, or if you have an item that gives you the same amount of magic power, but it gives you magical penetration, I would rather have that magical penetration on Wraith to get a much harder snipe than some sort of on-hit effect that's going to increase his healing from skills or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like it seems like that seems like all awesome on paper. Like I'll be healing up so much with my snipes if I use this item. I think it'd be just more effective just building straight up magical power and penetration and just hitting as hard as you can with that snipe whenever you do hit it. Chimera really hasn't changed much. My only concern about Chimera is that everybody does have organic trauma in their kits now, so he's not going to be able to heal as much. His spirit regeneration is going to suck. Maybe they've increased it to the point that he can still heal through a whole lot of stuff. We did see in the gameplay footage Chimera, you know, just tanking towers because he had all that health regen. So I don't know. We'll see. Murdoch with micro nukes was nasty. Yeah, that was another one. If you could get, that's when they had the like Murdoch's basic attacks dealt energy power. Like I don't even remember that from Paragon. You had physical power and energy power. So it wasn't really an ability versus basic attack delineation there. Okay, the Fae is the same as always. The Fae is another one where, you know, converse to Wraith, on hit effects are going to be amazing on the Fae. Because her flower does multiple ticks of damage. Her harvest nettles is on a very low cooldown, refunds mana so you can just poke with it constantly. Her brambles deals damage, her ultimate deals damage. Faye is another one where every single one of her abilities deals damage, and she's able to deal lots of damage like repeatedly. So we'll get into that later. Aurora, again, very curious as to how they're going to make Aurora, because people always treated her like a mage. She definitely had the more of a bruiser type scaling in Paragon. So I don't know if they're going to make her a mage or a bruiser. Seems like they're going to have her more of a off-laney, bruisery sort of hero. No Iggy and Scorch yet. No. Your first raid is going to be full attack speed and damage. Well, let me know how it works out. Like, we don't know how shit's going to work until we actually play the game. All right, so that's it for the heroes. Let's get into some of this build stuff. And we were talking about the smite item. So, and here it is. Sorry, I gotta look at the other screen now. So the smite item, maybe I can pull this over here. There we go. So here's our smite item. It doesn't seem like it's really changed any from the last game. And I wanted to point this out because a lot of people, when they're building jungle builds, they leave this out. And this is definitely, like I said, this is for beginners. A lot of beginners don't know to pick up a smite. If you don't know, any MOBA you play, if you're going to play jungle, there's going to be an item that gives you increased healing and damage whenever you're attacking jungle monsters. And it usually has some sort of active that deals a massive amount of damage to the jungle monsters and heals you. Overprime is the same way. And we've got the Bone Crasher. It starts out as a different item. We can look at that later maybe, but make sure you're picking this up. I'm sure it'll be offered to you in the recommended if you do pick the jungle role. Please, please, please pick this up. I saw so many people in the last beta test not taking a smite, heading into the jungle and getting their ass kicked by jungle minions and wondering why. And that's why, it's because they didn't pick up a smite. I'm not sure if trauma counts as a debuff or not. I'm sure it does. We'll take a look at the mathematician's item here in a little bit, Horseman. That's the only thing I really had to say about the jungle items. Switch this image up. Let's talk about mage flex items, and then we'll look at the actual items on the item page in a bit. But one thing I wanted to talk about was flex items for mages. So everybody was building just, whenever they were building mages, we're building just straight up damage, and that was it. That's fine if you're ahead, but whenever you're building any build, you got to remember that it doesn't matter how much damage you do. If you're dead, you're not dealing any damage. So you need to think about how to counter what's going on within the game. So you need to have flex items in the back of your mind whenever you go into these games. This is the... I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. This is why I like the Paragon card system more than any of these item systems. I understand why they switched to the item systems. I like the Paragon card system because you would pick your end item and then you would slot in whatever stats you wanted. You know, well, not whatever stats you wanted, but you had options of what stats you slotted into your end item. So it gave you a lot more flexibility than you have with this item system. You would think that limiting people to certain cards or limiting people to, you know, an amount of cards that they could have in their build would be a lot less flexible. But because you could slot in the buff cards, I thought that system was just way more flexible, and just you could respond. Like if you were getting your ass kicked, you could put in health instead of power into your card and still have the same end item card. I don't know, man. It's crazy. Jellinese, yes. Yeah, their jungle is a lot rougher than Predecessor's jungle. I had zero problem clearing out Predecessor's jungle. Didn't matter if I had a smite or not. So yes, Jelly, we're talking about Mida. But yes, whenever you're building, you need to think about survivability. So this is a really good one. Margit Stone, the active become invincible and able to take any actions. You see this one used so many times in this gameplay footage. And you know, if the devs are using it in their gameplay footage like constantly, then it's probably going to be pretty good. So this gives you the stasis. What this is going to do is if you've got like a runaway Countess or a runaway Xena that is just fucking you up, or you got a Gideon or you're just stuck in a Gideon ult or stuck in a Gadget ult and there's no way out of it, you just pop this and you're safe. Kallari comes dashing into you, you pop this, she wastes her ultimate on a statue and deals 0 damage, and you're safe. This is just an all-around excellent card to have. I didn't see anybody build this in their build. You definitely need something like this, and there's other cards that you can slot in. You don't have to. If you're uncomfortable with using an active ability like this, they have other items. So pull up another one. Flare's ID is another example. This one gives you, magical power, mana, cooldown reduction, and it gives you a shield whenever you drop below 30% health. So instead of having to activate something, it's not as effective, but you don't have to think about it. You just automatically get a shield if you drop below a certain amount amount of health. Will that save you? I don't know. Maybe this will be great for you in that it's going to vary from game to game. I think Market Stone is probably going to be all around better. That's why it costs more. But this would be a great option for a beginner if you're not comfortable with using actives. And then we got other items here. What's the other one, son? Is it Blue Heart? Yes, Blue Heart. So Blue Heart is the one we were talking about how effective Feng Mao is going to be because he has a spell shield. That's what Blue Heart is. It gives you a spell shield. So if you are getting this could be a more offensive option. It could be defensive in that it blocks an ability that hits you. But like say if you're on Gideon and you're ulting in, but every time you ult, freaking Decker hits you in the face with a stasis bomb, or Rampage pelts you in the face with a rock, and you're getting fucking tired of it. You put this on, you ult over top of everybody. Somebody tries to throw CC at you, it gets blocked. But alternatively, if Countess keeps diving you, this will at least block one instance of the damage from her combo. So this is a nice flex card in that it's versatile for both offense and defense. So definitely think about these flex cards when you're making these builds. Don't build just with only damage in mind, because like I said, if you're dead, you can't deal damage. This is a very expensive item for them, yeah. Stasis versus Blink for survivability. Why not both? Why not both? See what else we got. Let's see. Sage's Whip. Okay, this is another one. A lot of this came up in Fault a lot, is whenever, especially when I was on mid lane, people would be screaming for me to build some kind of trauma item. So if you have a runaway, everybody has organic healing reduction in their kit now, but if you do have a runaway Rampage, a runaway Chimera, or maybe a Feng Mao or a Serath that's building a whole bunch of lifesteal, you might want to flex into this before you flex into some of your other picks for damage. You might want to pick up the Sage's Whip. I mean, it's got pretty good magical power on it anyways, but it also decreases enemy healing. So it's a pretty nice item. Windu, what's going on? That's a good conversation to have though. Blink versus Stasis. Pull up another one here. Wrong one. Here's another great one, Mutant Poe. This has a little bit of magical power. It has mana, it has mana regen, and again, this is more for a support than like a mid laner, but I would not mind picking this up as a mid laner if the enemy team has somebody that's getting way ahead. Like if they've got a Shinbi that's already 5 kills up on you and your team has 0 kills, you might want to pick something up that's going to shut her down, and nothing shuts Shinbi down more than taking away her mobility. So Mutant Poe's another one I think you could probably think about flexing into. And it's again, can be both a defensive or offensive item. Swift, yeah, whenever we swap back over, right, like I have these slides prepared, but whenever we go and actually look at the actual items, oh, Levy, I didn't see you come in. Whenever we go and look at the actual items, we can look whatever you want. So I think these are some trap items for Mage, and I think this is going to explain a little bit of what I was talking about earlier. So we have Sage's Whip, we have Bells of Purification. Like everybody was building Bells of Purification in like their Gideon builds and in every build. And you know, it's a good card for 2,500. You get 60 magical power, 40% attack speed, and it decreases the target's magical defense by 8% for 8 seconds every time a basic attack deals damage to an enemy hero. The effect stacks up to 3 times, and you're thinking, that's awesome. I get attack speed for my basic attacks, and I'm lowering their magical defense, so I'm going to hit harder with my abilities. and it seems like a great card on the surface, but then you compare it to like Sage's Whip, which is, you know, 25, it's only 50 more gold, but you get 75 magical power, you get a bunch of health for survivability, and you get the healing reduction. You also have cards that give magical pen and stuff like that. I'm just saying, for like Gideon, for example, think about what you're supposed to be doing in the fight. Why build an attack speed Gideon unless you're just doing it for fun? But if you're trying to be as effective as possible, why build a basic attack mage whenever you have an ADC on your team? And when you think about what your mage is for, your mage is for attacking that back line. You know, you got your tanks up front, and then you got your damage in the back. The mages can reach out over those tanks and drop a bunch of damage into the back line. If all of your damage is centered around your basic attacks, you're just going to be throwing that into the tanks unless you're moving up far enough to where you're being able to be engaged. Like, you're no longer a mage, you're an ADC now. And if you're up against another Gideon and he's building just straight, he's ignoring his basic attacks and building just straight magical power, he's going to be dropping these bombs on your head that are dealing like 3/4 of your health, and you're just never going to get close enough to him to actually hit him with basic attacks, because their tanks are going to be all over you by that point when you pull up that far. So just, the troll builds are fun. By all means, build them and go for them. Just think about what the strengths of your hero are and try to make builds that complement the strengths of your hero. 5 mutant Poe income. Wouldn't that, I was thinking about that today. What if everybody on the team built mutant Poe? Would that, does it like decrease cooldown? Or can you just keep somebody for a full 10 seconds in that fish form? Like, as soon as they come out of it, the next person hits them with it. Oh my God. Okay, we got to try that. Who's down for that? Who's down for grouping up with me and making a 5-man mutant Poe team? It'd be like goddamn World of Warcraft, where you mark the one guy with the moon. Like, yeah, keep that guy sheeped. Keep that Rampage fucking mutant Poe while we fucking fight the rest of their team. That's insane. See, some other trap cards, I think, that people kind of fell into a little bit of a trap building. Oh, this is the other one. Gloves of Jealousy. This is going to be a great card on a lot of people, but I don't think it's for everyone. I mean, 2,700 is pretty cheap for 80 magical power, 10% cooldown reduction, and it's basically Stinger Boost. But Stinger Boost is a lot more effective on heroes that deal constant damage, as opposed to heroes that deal occasional damage. I mean, this is on a 4-second cooldown, but like the Fae, for example, Harvest Nettles is going to be up by the time this comes off. So you can Harvest Nettles, hit them with Gloves of Jealousy. Harvest Nettles, hit them with Gloves of Jealousy. You know, Untamed Growth, hit them with the Gloves of Jealousy. I think this is going to be a much more effective card on somebody like the Fae than it would be on like Gideon or anybody that has long cooldowns with high damage. So Faes would probably be good with Gloves of Jealousy. Wraith would probably be pretty decent with Gloves of Jealousy. We'll see. Just don't fall into the trap of thinking this is going to be good on every single mage, because it's not. You're in. Hey, you guys are good at that. You ready for the mutant Poe fucking meta? Let's do it up, guys. Let's make it happen. All right, yeah, I think that's gonna be it for the. I just wanted to cover that stuff because I felt bad, because we were making all. I tried to do that build stream, but we were making all troll builds. I don't want to lead people to believe that that's the best way to build. It might be a lot of fun for you, but it's probably not the best way to build. Let's look at the actual items themselves. Did I forget to mute my phone? Go. Whoa, Inception. That was crazy. I'm sorry. All right. So let's go over to the items. And I actually have to Gotta use the bathroom, so I'm gonna play the GTG trailer if I can find it. All right, guys, I'll be right back.
Absolutely incredible gameplay. Oh, and the Scud Laser again. Shade going down very quickly now. Gideon does have a beautiful ult and will take the kill. Oh, and they're going to get the IRA. Woo. Cosmos goes down. Oh my goodness, Shade goes down. Bora goes down. That is 4 members. This could be the end of the game. 11 minutes in, Mangus.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Needed some water, needed to blow my nose. I can set OBS to never record itself. Okay, Jelly, you will have to show me that later. Don, what's going on? All right, so Swift, what was that item you wanted to cover? I believe you had a certain item you wanted to talk about. Did they not load in? What's going on here? Okay, let's give it a second to load. What's going on here? Holy Relic of a Sign, all right. This page would ever load, we would do it up. Just my internet's being really slow right now, I think is what it is. So here's a question. Who do you guys plan to play first? If you have a choice, if somebody doesn't pick them, who do you plan to play first when the beta test goes live? But that's fucking tomorrow night, guys. that I just realized that. We're gonna be playing this shit tomorrow night. Wraith? I think a lot of people are gonna be trying to pick Wraith, yeah. Kwang, that's a good one. Aurora. Sevarog. Good. I'm glad to see everybody's picking somebody different, so we're not clashing. We're not clashing. Look at this. We've only got 2 that are the same. We got 2 Auroras. You do not have to sign up for the beta. In fact, you can go to Steam or Epic Game Store right now. Just look up Paragon the Overprime, and you can pre-download it. All you gotta do is hit request access, and you immediately get access. It's not like a request form, and you don't have to wait or anything. You immediately get access, and then you download it, and you can go ahead and reserve your name. Yeah, Jelly's going to definitely be playing Serath first. Oh, we're going to have to fight, Miyamo. We're going to have to fight. We're going to have to fight over her. I really enjoyed the Fae in Predecessor's last closed beta. I'm very much looking forward to playing her in Overprime. Back way back in the day when Overprime, before they got picked up by Netmarble, that's who I used to play whenever I played Overprime, was the Fae. You go play some Revenant? Man, Revenant's good, man. Just remember, his Q is an automatic reload. I saw a lot of people not taking good advantage of that. So blam, 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 Q, blam, 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 blam. That's how it goes. Is anybody else trying to load this? Because I cannot get it to load right now. Somebody else see if there's a problem with the website. Give me a shout out if that doesn't load for you. Right on. Go ahead and reserve your name. It instant loaded for you? There's something going on for me then. Oh, maybe it's a US problem. Yeah, maybe it's a Chrome problem. Oof, I don't want to use Edge. Long Dog of the Law 69. Oh my god. I'll know exactly who it is if I see that name in game. No, it's not loading for me on fucking Edge either. Oh, well, that sucks. I want to look at these items. That was like part of my plan for this stream. Well, I don't have any other browsers loaded. Unfucking fortunate. All right, well, instead of closing the stream out, let's just watch some gameplay and wait for this shit to load up. Let's change this media source here. I'm not done talking to you guys. Let's look at this Chinese one. Oh shit. Size of guy. My god, the sound. All right, there we go. The Chrome work fine for you? All right. I mean, I'll keep trying, but for now, I'll just put a. Oh no! Oh no! It's lagging out my stream. Son of a bitch. Why does this keep happening? This doesn't happen during FTM. It only happens when I'm trying to stream. Let me try and reload this page one more time. God, Kwang looks... I don't know if you guys have ever played Shakan the Forever Man on the Sega Genesis, but that's what that Kwang skin reminds me of. Hey, all right. We're gonna close that down. open this back up. Boom. There we go. We got the items. We got the items back. I guess Chrome was just having a little hiccup there for a second. All right, so SwiftX, you wanted to look at whoops. You want to look the assign card. Back in my day. Okay, so somebody had a question about the META, Mathematician's Intro to Architecture. Okay, applies to a single target even when an AoE skill is used. All right, we got that. So grants a stack of Mathematician's Power every time a skill hits an enemy, but there's a 5-second cooldown. A successful skill hit with 2 stacks or higher of Mathematician's Power deals bonus magic. Okay, so I see what you're asking here because I don't understand either. Is that a 5-second cooldown on how many times you can give the stacks, or do the stacks last for 5 seconds? Does anybody know? Can anybody make a play for this? Can you say one way or another and then back that up? Because I can't say for sure which one it is. Swiftix with the no. Right, okay, no, I know Swiftix. We'll get to your item in a minute. I just know somebody was talking about META. I know Swiftix. You want to talk about Glory of Assign? But I saw META, and I know somebody else had a question about that. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Cooldown between procs, useless on Wraith or like Gideon, but like crazy good on Gadget or the Fae. Yeah, that's the other thing. It doesn't have a stat cap. God, you could stack this up so fucking fast with the Fae and then just wreck them with a Harvest Nettles. Yeah, Rezi, that's kind of what it seems like to me. Zelkai, there's a lot of really good stuff to build on Shinbi. I did a build on the last stream, I think that was actually pretty good for her. Later, JVN. Okay, let's get the Glory of the Sign before Swiftix loses his mind. Holy Relic of a Sign. 30 physical power, 20% crit rate, 35 magical defense, removes all debuffs from the hero except for the airborne effect, increases movement speed by 40% for 2 seconds. So I'm guessing that this is your flex card. It might be too powerful if it's the stacks lasting for 5 seconds. I 100% get that. It might be too powerful in certain heroes. I mean, that would be the Mathematician's card would be a really good card for Shinbi if it works that way. Because then you're just healing like a mad woman in the middle of a team fight while you're dealing crap tons of damage, because she deals damage so fast. You'd have it stacked up almost immediately. You throw one wolf in and you get 2 ticks from your circle rhythm. Throw wolf in, dash in, circle rhythm, and already you're at 3 stacks. A Holy Relic of a Sign, you don't think it makes any sense? Is that what you're saying, Swift? This seems like a pretty good flex item to me. What are you pissed them off about, Swift? Yeah, this is definitely a cleanse. This is what they were talking about with phase. If she's linked to you, you could use this to remove that debuff, and then you have a 40% movement speed buff, and you could run right into her. Yeah, it's a good comparison, Horseman. Yeah, it's just like the anal beads in Smite, except it gives you speed. So there's a lot of these items. So let's look for some ADC flex items here. Okay, Swift, now I see what you're talking about with yeah, the stats do look a little weird on it. What throws me off about, if I could find it again. The Holy Relic is the 35 magical defense. You got physical power, crit rate, and then magical defense. Seems kind of weird to put on an item. Like, I get that you would need magical defense, but is that the stat that you think is weird? Because I think it is weird. It depends on where you are, Matthew Joseph. For me, I'm on the East Coast, NA, and it starts at 9 p.m. for me tomorrow. Yeah, there's another item that you can cleanse debuffs from other people that I think is more support oriented. This definitely seems like a flex item for ADCs, but I do get why you think the stat distribution is weird because of that magical defense on it. But I guess a little bit of magical defense ain't a bad thing. I would rather see penetration or something like that on it. Here's the other thing that's confusing me about these is they have like physical penetration on some items, but other items like the Sitar Chainsaw, they have nullified physical defense. What's the difference between penetration and nullified physical defense? Is it just that one is a percentage and one's just a flat number? Amiyamo, I do believe that is 6 p.m. West, yeah. And unfortunately, they don't have Western servers. I thought they did. They do not. They only have one server from America, and it's in Virginia. They're pretty damn close to me, so I'm pretty happy about that. But yeah, they usually have just a flat number, Raziel, for penetration, but they have percentages for nullified physical defense. This one doesn't seem trash. This seems like it'd be really good on it's a tank shredder for sure for an ADC. So if you do have a runaway Sevarog or something, this Sitar Chainsaw would be a really good item. What do you guys think of this item, this Marauder's Watch? We got physical power, attack speed, cooldown reduction. A successful basic attack on an enemy decreases all skill cooldowns by 0.2 seconds. Who do you think this would be good on? Because I look at this and I think of ADC style Wraith, because you're lowering the cooldown of your snipe by 0.2 seconds every time you hit a basic attack. Now, I prefer to build my Wraith more of a mage, but if I were to build an ADC Wraith, I think this Marauder's Watch would be a definite must-have for him. Matthew Jeff, sure, yeah. Lurk in the Discord. I'm definitely down for making a 5-man Mutant Poe group. That's your first card on Aurora? You think it'd be good on Feng? Yeah. That would be really good on Feng, especially with his shield giving you a bubble, a spell bubble now. This watch would be fucking crazy on him. And it gives you a little bit of the Beyblade. You put it on Chimera? Yeah, Chimera does have the organic increased attack speed anyway. You would be lowering the cooldown on your ambush to make sure that people don't get away. This is going to be a really good item. I hadn't really paid attention to this. I mainly just pay attention to oh, you want my Discord link? Where do I go find it? Oh shit. I owe Owen something. There we go. There's my Discord link. I'm not in there a lot, to tell you the truth. Does an enemy include minions? I would not think that it would, but they didn't specifically say heroes here. Oof, that would be crazy if you could just use this on minions or like Prime Guardian or whatever, especially with Feng Mao. Just constantly having your shield up while you're trying to take Prime. That's nuts. I would think that it would only work on heroes. I can't see this working on minions. That would be too strong. No, Swift, we're not doing builds today. I just wanted to go over a little bit of beginning how to build to make sure that people are building a smite pretty much, and to make sure that people don't think that attack speed Gideon is a great idea. And all right, well, it is later than I thought. It's around 7:30, and I have, as I was checking Discord, I realized I have other obligations, so I am going to have to cut the stream here. June Lopez, sorry, it's good to see you, but I'm sorry, I am cutting it off right now. Yeah, tomorrow night, it's going to be 9 p.m. for me. Tomorrow night is going to be this test, so I'm really looking forward to it. Looking forward to playing with everybody. Hit me up. Still not for console yet? No, not yet. Predecessor did mention some stuff about console today, but it was pretty much just, yeah, we're working on it. We'll let you know. But yeah, hit me up if you see me in game. It's going to be Mangoose, just what my name is here. Friend me in game, whatever. More than willing to play with as many people as humanly possible. Probably be in quick match for the most time. But yeah, let's get that Mutant Poe group going, and let's make somebody's life. Let's pick one person on the enemy team and make their life hell with Mutant Poe. All right, but that is going to be it for me. Thanks guys for coming out to the stream. This was a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying streaming. I'll definitely be streaming the actual game probably during the day. So EU guys, I'll be around for y'all, but probably not so much for NA. That's when I'll be doing videos and stuff. But that's gonna be it for now. You guys have a good one.